assault and batteries, but my trunk stay ever ready. Assault and battery, if you scared, you never ready.
Alright, with WrestleMania coming up very, very soon, I thought I'd make a video of my top 5 favorite WrestleMania matches of all time. If you're new to this channel, be sure to like, subscribe, share, and let me know what your favorite WrestleMania matches are, because there have been 42 WrestleManias and a whole lot of WrestleMania matches, and even making this list was very difficult to do considering there's so many. And luckily for me, I was able to be live for a couple of these matches. And just WrestleMania is a great time of year to really look back and realize how many classics and how great wrestling really is. And the Showcase of the Immortals is really the best way to put it. Starting off at number 5, and one match that I was there for live, and still to this day the greatest near fall of all time. It is Hell in a Cell, End of an Era, Triple H versus The Undertaker with Shawn Michaels as the special guest referee. This was at WrestleMania 28, and I had row 8 ringside, which I bought for $850 back in 2012. It came with the WrestleMania, I think we got the Platinum package, Premium, whatever it was called. But great match. And from the entrances of the cell itself, you had Metallica playing in the back, you had the stare down, you had just a story from the year before, and Shawn Michaels being like the kind of the handicap for Triple H, the ace for Triple H. It was the story was amazing. And when you talk about guys who went in there, they didn't kill themselves, they didn't do no flips or whatever, they used the cell to their advantage. You knew that it was like, they called it the end of an era, so you knew that something was going to happen, that this is going to be the last hurrah for that era. And just thinking back, it was incredible. Like, words can't like describe the feeling of sitting there. It was my first time, I believe, seeing Hell in a Cell live, but definitely first time seeing it like live, like up close like that, and having guys in the caliber of Triple H, Undertaker, and Shawn Michaels, and to have it at WrestleMania, to be there live, sit there ringside, it was like a making of a classic. And I think if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. If you were there live, you can fully attest to like how great that match was. Number 4 was another match I was there live from the same WrestleMania. It was The Rock and John Cena. And mind you, this wasn't no like Dave Meltzer 5-star classic, but going into that match, that whole WrestleMania, 365 days prior, that's all people talked about. It was Rock versus John Cena, 1 year build, 1 year in the making, once in a lifetime. And at the time, people were a little bit hesitant. What happens to John Cena if he gets injured? People thought they booked John Cena in a corner at the time. But I just remember being on Skype, and that was the heyday of like YouTube and YWC. Every day we talked about how awesome it's going to be to see John Cena versus The Rock. We've talked about it since 2005, when like they were kind of calling each other out, or little jabs were being thrown. And then when The Rock came back, and you know, everyone was with it till he started talking trash and he wasn't being specific. And it was insane. And we had our Cena gear on, we were all for it, and I've told the story before with me filming, and The Rock threw his elbow pad, but I was too busy, with my right hand I was filming, and I just see from like my camera view, I wasn't looking in front of me, I was looking at my screen, The Rock's elbow pad from the people's elbow went right behind me. I literally could have put my hand out and caught it, but the guy like one row back caught it, and like, damn, this is what I do, this is what I did, this is what I sacrificed for YouTube, was giving up The Rock's elbow pad from WrestleMania 28. But again, the most hype match, the most built up match. Again, the thing is, when you think about great matches, everyone thinks about like the New Japan, Wrestle Kingdom, whatever, AEW. But the match was like, they could have done nothing, and they barely did. They didn't do much. They did a whole lot of storytelling, I think, is a big thing that goes in these matches. And yeah, I'm just thinking back, just being there that close and seeing a spectacle, and definitely like a classic, and something that'll go down as one of the greatest build-ups and one of the greatest matches to me of all time. Number 3 is Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker from WrestleMania 25. Now, I feel like this is when I really started to become a quote-unquote smart fan. I just started doing YouTube videos 2 months before. So Legend Killer and I did a review of WrestleMania 25 from his room, from his house, and we watched that pay-per-view together. And I remember both of us just sitting there marking out for that whole, like the sequences, the finishers, the kickouts. We couldn't believe it. And when it was done, I'll never forget, Legend Killer looked at me and he was like, I think that was the greatest match I've ever seen. And at the time, you knew you saw something special. And we were both like speechless, because at the time you never saw like a tombstone kick out, Shawn Michaels like super kick out, chokeslam kick out, and it was all built up, and the dive Undertaker did off the top rope. Everything about that match. Many people say it's a perfect match, and to me, I agree. But it was, yeah, just thinking back, like I know this match gets talked about so much, and a lot of people preferred the 26 match over the 25, but you know, I just remember watching it and all the feelings, like you're just into it, and it was like you're all fired up. And I remember I couldn't wait to like go and review the match, and looking back, I was like, man, like I was so glad I witnessed that match, like when I did, and not like on a replay or after I heard how great it really was. Number 2 is Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle from WrestleMania 21. And this is a fun fact, I've mentioned this before, but the first YouTube channel name I had was Angle versus HBK. And that was how you know that. That was one of my favorite matches of all time. And Wrestling Clinic, honestly. This is like one of those things when you talk about like wrestling, if Wrestling 101. Shawn Michaels going in there, slapping Kurt Angle, immediately working as a bad guy. People were cheering Kurt Angle as soon as he came out, and just shows you how much of like pros those two really are. They saw an opening, they saw that this wasn't going to go the way they thought. Shawn Michaels worked as a heel, Kurt Angle worked as like a wrestling machine that he was at that time, and literally put on probably the greatest wrestling match of all time. And to this day, I feel like it holds up to anything, in any company, in any era. And those two are on my top 5 favorite wrestlers of all time. And to have those two go at it was, I think that's why it's like one of my favorite matches of all time. Number 2 favorite matches of all time. And number 1, we have Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon, WrestleMania 10. And, you know, I know a lot of people are going to say there's been so many better ladder matches since that time. But for me, growing up, I was like, I don't remember it vividly, but I do remember just being, I don't even, what's the word? I was so taken back. I was so like in awe of Shawn Michaels, 1994, 1995 Shawn Michaels. And seeing that match and seeing the story they told, and I wasn't able to really fully appreciate it until I was like older. But there was the first ladder match. They did what they could. They did whatever they could. And at that time, it was innovative. Shawn Michaels doing that splash off the top will go down as the most iconic, to me, one of the most iconic pictures in wrestling history. I'm so thankful to have that picture framed, signed by both Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon. But to me, it wasn't a fact that they didn't have to kill themselves, do flips or whatever off the ladder. They used it a lot more for that time. Innovative, so innovative. But to me, just everything about that match was defined what those two are, the workhorses. The Intercontinental title actually meant something at the time. And yeah, I think it was more me growing up, and it was like seeing, this was before the Stone Cold era as well. So just seeing those two go at it, it was just incredible. And it'll always be my favorite match of all time because it holds such a special place in my heart. Got a classic superstar signed of that match, got the framed print. And even when I met Razor, it's all I could talk about was that match. Let me know your top WrestleMania matches, and I'll see you guys in the next video.